everyone, I'm going to read you a story called The Tiny King by Taro Miura. Once upon a time, in a land far, far away, there lived a tiny king. The tiny king lived alone in a big, big castle. See, there he is, the tiny king. He had an army of soldiers with long spears and stern faces. Wherever the king went, the soldiers would march behind. Left, right, left, right, left, right. The king ate alone at a big, big table. A huge feast of delicious food was laid out every day. But the tiny king was just one tiny person. He could never finish so much food by himself. The tiny king had a big white horse, but he was so tiny and the horse was so big that every time he tried to ride the horse, he would fall off. The tiny king had a big, big bathtub. It even had a water fountain in it. But splishing and splashing by himself was never much fun. The tiny king's bed was also a big, big bed, but he slept in it all alone every night. And the king was so sad and so lonely, he never really slept very well. Then one day, the tiny king fell in love with a big princess and asked her if she would be his queen, and she said yes, and soon they were happily married. And not long after, the tiny king and big queen were married, they were blessed with lots of children. The tiny king was so happy, he sent his army of soldiers home on a holiday, and they all marched off. Left, right, left, right, left, right, back to their families. Now the king's castle no longer felt so big, and the children ran around laughing and playing all day long. The king's family gathered around the big table, and together they had no trouble finishing the enormous feast of delicious food. The big white horse pulled the tiny king and the big queen in a carriage, while the children rode on the back of the horse. Here they are going for a picnic. Now bath time was a real riot. The tiny king and his family splished and splashed together every day. And what about the tiny king's big bed, where he had been so sad and so lonely? Well, everyone snuggled up side by side. It was just the right size. And the tiny king slept soundly at last. Look, here he is, fast asleep. Good night, tiny king.